Hi, everybody. I am Anjanette, and welcome to Healing from the Inside Out. And today I have a very special guest with me. She's also a nurse. She's a hypnotherapist, she's a yoga instructor, and a business coach. Yes, she is. And she helps high achieving women overcome overworking and create impact, income, and influence. So please help me welcome Helen Eimers. Hello, hello, hello. I love that. Impact, income, and influence. I love that.
It's powerful. It's so powerful. Yeah. Thank you so
It
much for the
is.
warm welcome. I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful to be here.
I'm so grateful to have you. So, how do you go from nurse to hypnotherapist, or were they kind of intertwined and then you started just helping people grow a business?
Yeah, great question. As a nurse, I was telling you this a little bit before, but I just wanted to save the world. And I have this passion. I'm a former people pleaser. So I was just so confused when the same clients, the same patients would come in with the same symptoms over and over. I would share with them what they needed to do, and they wouldn't listen. They didn't follow the instructions, and then they'd be back in the hospital the next week with the same problems. And I could not understand that, right? And I got very burnt out in that space of trying to save versus support, which is what they teach you in nursing school, saving people, literally saving
Mm.
people. And I got really burnt out in that. And I shifted into some clinic work and the nurse case management work, which I really loved because I love to manage like all the bits and pieces of everyone's case. Because as you know, it's not just one diagnosis, it's not just one thing, everything's connected. And I really just came into working with and loving to work with people who wanted to shift and people who wanted to change, right? Who were making the choices to do that. So, as a side gig to my nursing job, I was a health and fitness coach. I went through my own transformation. I learned so much about what health really is, which I learned nothing about health in nursing school, right? It's just a different model that I was taught. And so when I learned about true health, which started in the gut, and I started to eat the way my body responded well to and move my body, I got amazing transformations. And everyone said, "What are you doing?" And as a natural coach and sharer and someone who inspires, I started to share. So I ran accountability groups for 3 years straight, and I was a health and wellness coach. And I found that the most amazing women who were coming and showing up were willing to dive into the hard work. We're willing to feel the discomfort, right? Not the
Mhm.
instant gratification. And so I wanted to help women on a deeper level because they'd work with me for a month and then they'd start to fall off again. And I'm like, I want to go deeper. So I started life coaching, and I found there that all of my most amazing clients were multi-passionate, driven women, many of whom owned a business or created a business from their passion to help others. And so that's how I got into working with women entrepreneurs.
I love that. So you said you didn't learn anything about health in nursing school, and I just find that astonishing because I think that nurses and doctors learn very different things. I
Mm-hmm.
think they drilled the body into us, at least when I went to school, they drilled the body into us. But I think that we're very disappointed, and I think that's where a lot of your burnout came from because we think we're saving people, and medicine is not really geared towards saving anybody. It's really that cyclic symptom management rather than curative. So
Yeah.
I chose to stay because I have to advocate, right? And if I wasn't there, I don't have my hands in it, right? So I totally get where you're coming from with that. And I love that you shifted to people who wanted that help. So I don't know if you feel the shift that is online, because there are so many people in health online, and a lot of them really don't have any background in health. And it's a lot of guesswork. But I think there's a lot of desensitization. I didn't say that well, but my tongue goes as it gets later. Um, I feel like people at large are really desensitized to the messages on health. I think they feel very lied to for a very long time because what they believed was health is now shifting to a whole new thing, right? And there are so many more modalities that people can have now that they weren't exposed to
Yeah.
prior. And a lot of times it takes more than one modality. It would have been great if doctors would have said, this is what's wrong with you. I mean, in hospitals, we work as a multidisciplinary team. There are other people on staff, but if they knew enough about nutrition to start that conversation before handing them off to a dietitian or someone else, and it was more a cumulative effort. I feel that people wouldn't feel so almost betrayed by the
Yeah.
messages of health that are out there.
And I think it's the multifaceted approach of, as humans, we want to feel safe and we want to fix things, right? We're fixers. We want
Hmm.
to feel safe and we don't want to feel discomfort. And so, in that discomfort, we as the humans have been trained to like find the magic pill, find the quick fix. But when we really stop and listen to our body, listen to the symptoms, try a multi-dimensional approach to our health, it's really fascinating the results that we can receive and the results that we can get. So yeah, when I say I didn't learn much about or anything about health, it's like I did learn anatomy, I did learn physiology, but like true health, like eating these foods will make you feel your best, right? It wasn't that multidimensional approach. It was, they were training me as a nurse, right? These are the pharmaceuticals that help. These are the ways that you fix, and it was a sick care model versus a health
Yes.
care model. And so I think too, as humans, we we don't automatically step into discomfort. We don't want to feel discomfort. And so in that seeking of I need to want to feel my best, many women, many people look for a quick fix. And that's the same with coaching too, right? Like they have a vision, they want this, but are they willing to feel the emotions, the discomfort of delaying gratification to get what they actually want in the long term? Because that's what it takes. It takes a little discomfort to get there.
But a lot of people don't get that whole discomfort part and they don't
Mhm.
realize and that's where our job really comes in, right? Because a lot of people don't understand like I was really sick. I didn't get to sick overnight. So
Mhm.
health wasn't going to be an overnight process either. And I did try a lot of the things that were out there and they just didn't work because it
Yeah.
was a perpetual sick model, right? So it wasn't really until I was willing to do that inner work and
Yeah.
get into what was really wrong with me and how I got to that place was I able to really find my forever, right?
Mhm.
Because it's 15 years later and here I am still in the same body, right? So it is about doing that work to keep it. And I think a lot of people I think there are a lot of wonderful people online that really, really do encompass the health model that you're talking about. But the people don't want to put in the work or they do the work, they get a little results, they feel good about it, and then they stop doing what they were doing. And they don't realize that it is a lifestyle. I mean, people talk about diets, Ellen, right? But everything is a diet. Even a lifestyle is a diet. It's what you choose to eat that is going to keep giving you that same outcome. It's so people say, "Oh, I don't want to be on a diet for the rest of my life," but you are on a diet for the rest of your life because
Yeah.
whether
Yeah.
you
And when you
do
can look
vegan
at
or
it and
Mediterranean,
yeah, when you can look at it as opportunity versus restriction, and that's the thought work that is so powerful to shift. Because I've had thoughts in my past, right? It's like I used to have a belief around success. The success is when I have all my shit together. Well, gosh, like I'm always going to feel like I'm chasing that because when do we ever have everything together? The beauty in this life, in our businesses, in what we share with the world is stepping into uncomfortable spaces, right? Taking the
mhm,
risks, but then also being able to sit with those emotions versus force them down with instant gratification, or force them down with vices or habits that are unhealthy for you and what you're trying to build. And so that's where I found that hypnotherapy is just fascinating, right? Because we have our conscious thoughts, and then hypnotherapy supports you with accessing those subconscious thoughts and beliefs that we have ingrained in us that are created as a form of safety because we're human beings and safety is our number one thing. And when we can access that and find the truth with a practitioner who supports people with hypnotherapy, it's incredible.
I love that. I think it's a very beneficial model to have, especially with your background, right? So because you do have that health background, you do understand how the body works, and hypnotherapy is more of the minds. And I believe if you bring the mind, the body will absolutely follow,
Yeah.
right? It will absolutely follow, you know.
Mhm.
So I do a lot of work with that on my clients, and they always tell me you come with these questions out of left field, and they don't understand where they come from, but it does propel where they're stuck and where you need to go next, right? So um I love hypnotherapy. I have a few friends that are hypnotherapists, and I love the whole concept. And I love that we're in a time where there are so many different modalities that we can really bring together, right?
Yeah.
So you're doing the fitness, you got the yoga going on, you got the mindset going on, right? You have the medical background. I think it's great, and I think that your clients are very lucky to have you,
Hmm.
you
Thank you.
know?
I
But
appreciate
I
that.
also like that you come from a place where you say that, you were in a place where you said, "Oh, when I have my shit together, I'll reach that goal." And I'm glad you put that out there because a lot of people look to, these people that are doing really well, and you are doing really well for yourself.
Mhm.
And people look to those people that are doing really well for themselves, and they think that they don't have a bad day anymore,
Yeah.
and that every day is a great day, and they don't realize that good and bad is always going to be there. It really is how you show up to handle those good and bad times, and what you do with them that make the difference where you keep going or you stay stuck. Because I know I've had a lot of encounters with people in my life. When I just first came online, and they were like, "What are you doing? You're out of your minds." And
Hmm.
they're comfortable where they are. And I
Hmm.
don't begrudge them for being happy in their lives, but that just wasn't fulfilling for me. So I
Yeah,
wanted to keep going and keep learning. So, and I
absolutely.
think that people have to understand that especially in today's times, we're full with the world is full of people that are so different and so unique, and they're all exploring things that we never thought of before.
Hmm. Yeah.
We've never had the visibility that we have. We never had the connections that we have on a personal level that we can really reach globally anywhere now. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, and I'm an excellent coach because I've walked through and done the work, right? I've become aware of those thought patterns. I've took the time to interrupt those thought patterns, and that's exactly what I do with my clients in that space. And having all of the resources, the background, the expertise that I bring to the table is just incredible. And there's so many incredible coaches out there who bring so many different things to the table that are going to fit for each person who's looking for that support and encouragement. And like you said, on a global level, right? Like the reach that we have, right? If any coach or any service-based practitioner is out there saying like, there's no clients, like, let's open your heart to a belief that you are attracting and energizing those clients to you, because that's what's blocking you, right? It's the beliefs and the
The
thoughts
belief,
that block
it
you.
absolutely is the
Hmm.
belief that, while, they don't see me, they don't hear me, because there's millions of people online on so
Yeah.
many different facets. I mean, there's something like 30 million people a day just on Pinterest, right? So it might just be, their message. And I think a lot of times it is messaging. I think people need to feel that connection. There is a
Yeah.
lot of spam out there though, you know. when someone says, I can help you and they've known you for 2 seconds and know nothing about you, it's a little hard to believe, right?
Yeah.
But I love that you've done that work yourself. So in your practice, what would you say would be the biggest shifts that you've seen someone encounter? Like, where was it a belief system, like a past belief system, or it was more of a physical transformation? Like they were ready to serve themselves, do the work, but they were just stuck in that physical sense. They couldn't get past that.
Great question. So when I used to run accountability groups with health and wellness, I mean, my clients, it would be fun to just share and show that, these 8 clients lost 115 pounds in this month, and have these incredible transformations. But again, the most beautiful thing I can do and share with my clients is interrupting their thought patterns, because you can be on point, you can be motivated, you can be on task when you have someone in your back pocket. But what happens, right,
Mm.
when you don't have someone there every day to check in? Like, how are you going to support yourself with that? And that's most powerful, is that I help my clients become resourceful. And recently, I have just these beautiful miracle stories that happen all the time. But recently I was in a hypnotherapy session with one of my clients, and she was having a lot of anxiety, and she is an incredible business owner, and she just felt blocked, and I can't get back on track, and why does this keep happening to me, right? And she was able to access that fear, and not only was she able to access and feel that fear, but she was able to talk to it and say, thank you for being here, this is going to be so much fun, I got you, right? Like, when is the last time that you, number one, allowed your fear to be there, and number two, talk to it with love? And when that happens, right, when we're not afraid anymore of our fear, then there's nothing left to fear. Of course, there will be fear because that's part of our human experience. But when we're not afraid of the fear, there's nothing left to fear. We can just allow it to be there because it's a part of us, and then step into the next version of ourselves, which is mind blowing. If you think about anything that holds you back, anything that you haven't done, that you're scared to do, that you've been avoiding, that you found something easier to do today, that you put on your schedule but keep moving it, like, there's fear behind that.
I don't really look at things as fear based. As far as I know, I'm really not afraid of anything.
Yeah.
Um, really, I mean, anything. If I want something bad enough, I'm willing to put in the work, whatever it is. But
Yeah, willing to feel the discomfort of
yes,
taking
yes.
that
So
challenge. But it's the women who are not at that space yet, who, this is hard, so, or this isn't working, so, and so there's a level of us that wants to seek that safety. And so some people, it shows up as hurt or sadness or loneliness or frustration or anger. But when we can just allow it to be there versus finding a vice or finding or seeking instant gratification, that's when we can step into it. That's when we can get uncomfortable and step into the next space.
I agree with you. For me, it was procrastination when
Yeah.
when I didn't want to try the next thing. But I was coming from a place of ego at that point,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when fear really, really comes, right? When that there's an ego involved. But um, I'm not really egocentric anymore. I'm at the place in my life, Helen, I'm finally at that place in my life where I really don't give a shit what anybody thinks anymore. And not in a bad way. It's
Right.
just because I'm so okay with who I am, the good, the bad, the ugly. There's all those parts in there, and I'm okay with that,
You're
because a
not
lot of
letting it mean anything about you, right? That's the biggest question I have for women. When someone says something or something happens, I say, well, what are you letting that, what are you making that mean about you? And when you can know that, like, I am just worthy, no matter what happens, no matter what mistakes I do, no matter what someone says, like, I am worthy and I am loved and I love myself. Like, if we don't let it mean anything about us, then we're detached from, you know, their influence of us, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. And from really living fully. I think too many people really, really worry about what others think and don't really live fully in the minute, right? A friend of mine went live the other day and she showed up with her hair undone and everything. She's very beautiful. And she said, listen, I didn't even get in the shower today, but I just wanted to say this and I really don't care. This is me.
Yeah.
Just how I am. Total authentic. I'm not made up. I'm not. And I loved what she had to say, and if you knew her, I mean, she's so beautiful. She does a lot of aberratic medicine and stuff. And I met her through some books that we did, but she was telling people it's okay just to be who you are. You're not in the place that I'm at. I'm not in the place that you're at. And I think she was just coming back on social media. She took a break.
Yeah.
She needed that break.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that's okay too. That's okay too. So I'm so grateful that you're out there, you're helping people, and you're doing really well for yourself. So, what is the biggest lesson? Because you've been online now, how many years? 7 years now?
8, 9-ish. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what would you say the biggest lesson you've learned in this time is?
I would say the biggest lesson is that the story, the journey, the path of your life and business, there is no ending point, right? I used to think like, oh, well, once I do this, then I'll have that level of success. Or once this happens, then it's like that. Once I lose that weight, then I'll be happy. Or once I have this, then I'll be happy. And there's no ending to it. But when we feel like there's an ending, then there's scarcity and we feel like we have to rush and we feel like we have to do more. And so I just encourage all of you to step into that truth of like, you're always going to be writing this story and you always get to write this story. And when you focus from a place of there's just no lack or scarcity anymore.
I love that. I love that so much. So if people wanted to reach you, how would people get in touch with you?
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also go to my website at www.heleneimers.com. You'll see me all over, dropping some truth bombs, sharing about my clients' wins, the fun things I do. I love family. I love the river. I love water. And I love teaching yoga and supporting people to interrupt their thought processes so that they can step into the biggest, boldest version of themselves.
I love that. I might take one of your yoga classes. I've been wanting to try it for a long time. I think I tried it once and that was it. But I think I'm finally ready. I'm in a better place. Like I think calmer in myself. I'm easier to like meditate and relax and things like that, where before I was just a hypermaniac. So I think I'm ready to explore yoga. I see a lot of people teaching it online, and I think I'm ready to explore.
Yeah, it's such a blessing. I have a Power Pause yoga series for busy women entrepreneurs or any woman who, finds it hard to just take that pause in her day. And that's powerful. And then I teach local yoga and in the summer, paddleboard yoga on the river. So if you're in South Dakota, that's where you can join me.
Oh, I love that. So we're going to say goodnight to our audience. I wanted to thank you so much for coming in. I love spending this time with you and getting to know a little about you. I see you on Facebook all the time, and now I can finally put a face to who you are. And I hope you'll revisit us here again, okay? When we can spend more time and get to know you a little better.
Absolutely. I appreciate the time. Thanks, Andra.
Thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
audience, for tuning in to Healing from the Inside Out, and have a great evening.